Guatemala that is the one that you're going to play against? Thank you.
Yeah, like I just said, I think, throughout the group phase, they showed, very good football. They picked up important wins, got an important win against Jamaica. So they're a team that's, been showing their quality, and a team that we can't take lightly. And, looking forward to tomorrow's match and hopefully winning.
Before I go to Guatemala, I would first talk about Panama. And for me, they've been the best team in the tournament. Watching them play, I think Thomas Christensen has done an amazing job. I coached Fidel Escobar and Amir Murillo, and I know how good those guys are. I think Amir Murillo's been one of the best tournament players in the whole tournament. And then we played against El Salvador, and it was a fight. And we know against Guatemala that they're a team that's very committed to each other, that knows each other really well, that will make it very difficult to us in every aspect of the game, but also has some good football qualities. Their coach does some clever things tactically that I think will be difficult for us to manage. And I think going through the video, we've shown very clearly that this won't be an easy game, that we have to make sure that we tilt the bar to be on our terms more and less on their terms, to play the game with speed and power and things that we know we have and what our big attributes are, and to try to challenge them in those ways, because they're a clever team, they're a smart team, they have good experience. In general, I think looking at Central America, they've had a good tournament. But like Tajon says, we're really focused on our march, on our mission, and we're excited for the match tomorrow.
I think, Tajon, what is it about this tournament that you like so much, or puts you in your comfort zone? Because I think back to the 2021 Gold Cup when you were named Young Player of the Tournament, and you think about what you regain your confidence and your love for the game again at Villarreal over the course of the last few games, but this tournament especially. What is it about the competition, just CONCACAF in general, that you seem to enjoy?
And I don't know. It's always an honor to put on the jersey for Canada, and whenever I'm able to do that, always just try and give my best. And like you just said, coming off the season with Villarreal, getting more minutes, gaining my confidence and feeling like myself again, I think it was just the perfect time to come in and get more games this summer. And obviously playing for my country, like I just said, it's always an honor, and I always try and show my best. And just so happens that I'm playing really well right now, and I just have to keep pushing and helping the team.
Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports. I'll direct this to Jesse, but Tajon, you can chime in as well. You guys just played your last couple games at a MLS stadium. Now you're coming to this massive indoor NFL stadium. There's going to be temporary grass laid down. Do you feel that this is a venue that befits this tournament? And do you enjoy playing in a venue like this, or would you rather see them at smaller stadiums with, natural grass?
I mean, we like playing at home, and we don't get to do that much. But in terms of I think we found that whether it was Copa or this tournament, that even though some people, I remember Bielsa complaining last summer about the pitches, and I think the quality of replacement pitches that we have now is much, much better than when I played. Now, I know I'm an old man, so this is when it was black and white television, maybe. But we're going out after for what do they call it? Stadium familiarization. Okay, that's the official term. But in general, I think we like playing at these big venues. We like it when it's full of Canadians more than the opponent. But whatever. Right now, we don't mind. We don't mind the replacement pitches. We don't mind how big it is. We don't mind how many fans are in the stadium. Usually for the opponent, we just want to win, and we're focused entirely on that.
Jeff Carlisle with ESPN. My question's for Jesse. You've had an extra day or two to prepare for this game as opposed to games on the group stage. I mean, what has that been able to do for your team, and what kinds of things have you been working on given, that little bit of extra time?
We gave them one day off, which was, I think, well needed because we hadn't had one in a long time since we've been together. And also, we are at 100% with all 23 players that we have. So throughout the tournament, whether it was Alistair coming late, Richie Larea coming off of injury, Derek Cornelius not being totally fit. We've had kind of minute restrictions on different players for different games. And this game, and now going into the knockout phase, we feel like we're at our strongest, even though we're missing Ali Ahmed and Sam Adekugbe and Steph Eustachio. The 23 players we have are 100% healthy, 100% fit, and ready to go. So it's a good feeling, I think, for all of us to know that we're at full power. Yeah, I mean, each game requires something a little different, right? So there's some similarities between El Salvador and Guatemala, but they do some things different. Tactically, I think we've continued to iron out all phases of the game, what we want to be good at. And then, having the set piece coach here for the last 4 weeks, we've continued to try to develop what our set piece strategies are and make sure we're clear on that. So, but maybe I'm giving a secret out, but we're going to try to press and counter press tomorrow.
Doug? Hey guys, thanks for doing this. Doug McIntyre, Fox Sports. Question for both of you. Tajon, start with you, but same question for you, Jesse. I know you're not looking past the game tomorrow. You're obviously on the same side of the bracket as the U.S. team. You can sort of see the path. The goal is to win the tournament. Would it make it, or how much more meaningful would it make it to have to go through the U.S., have to go through the Mexico potentially with all their fans? I know you said Panama's been the best team, but we know that U.S. and Mexico, the traditional powers. How much more meaningful would it be to win the tournament having to go through those two teams if it comes to that? Thanks.
Man, if I'm being honest, I don't care who it is. It's just at the end of the day, I want to lift the trophy, and it starts tomorrow. And that's the only game I know we're all focused on, and it's the only game we should be focused on. So just excited for tomorrow and ready to, go out there and play.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the right time to answer that question, Doug. We're fully focused on this game. But everyone who's in this tournament knows that in some way, shape, or form, if you want to be successful in it, you have to go through the U.S. and Mexico. That's what the Gold Cup is, and it has been for years. So, but we have to earn the right, by getting through it step by step and stage by stage. And we've been fully focused on that, and it's rewarded us.
Two more in the room, now we'll go virtual. KJ?
Christian, Jack, One Soccer, thank you both for doing this. Question for each of you on Copa America last year and how you learned from that. Jesse, on the Venezuela game, which seemed to be that huge bridge from, a tournament to then suddenly everybody in Canada becoming aware of it. Yeah. How big is that first knockout game in a tournament? And for you, Tajon, knowing what happened to you last year within that tournament, how much more are you enjoying it this year and not maybe taking a tournament like this for granted, knowing that what happened to you last year in Copa? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's obviously, if I'm being honest, Copa last year for me was like a blur, especially, coming in, Jesse was a new coach, wasn't playing much, but then a serious injury. So when I look back on it, it was more like a blur, and extremely happy to just be playing football, feeling good, feeling 100% and feeling fit. I think that's the most important. And then obviously being able to put on the jersey again for Canada and going out there and competing with, the guys. So yeah, right now I'm very happy to be playing for Canada, and yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
It's interesting with Tajon in general, because when I came in, I knew that Tajon was one of the highest potential players that we had, and I'd watched him in MLS, I'd watched him in Europe, and I had obviously known about his development over the years. But he hadn't played much. He had made the transfer in the winter from Inter. And so even when players ask me, or from Bruges to Inter, even when players ask me about making transfers and I always kind of reference playing is so important, right? So being at a great big club like Inter was, I'm sure, an incredible experience for Tajon and a big impression. But if you're not playing, then he comes in the summer and you weren't in top form. He wasn't top fit. And then it was tough for him to get himself going. And when the injury happened is right when we felt like we were really now getting the old Tajon back, and then that was unfortunate. Now he's been able to play more, and clearly you can see his confidence and his ability. And this is the case, I think, for all players. Playing is paramount, right? You have to be sharp. You have to be fit. You have to be able to push yourself. And obviously you want to be at high levels, but I think Tajon is an example to show that, for him, playing has brought him confidence and fitness and everything else. For us as a team, Yeah, I mean, Venezuela was a real important moment for us as a group. I thought we played outstanding in that match. And then what's interesting is we played in a lot. We didn't play in temperature control. We played in Atlanta, then we played in two games in the heat, and then we went back into a temperature-controlled environment. It's going to be temperature-controlled here. I'm expecting our team to be ready to fly. Like, we're not going into this game thinking we're going to play passive. We're not going into this game to say, all right, let's be conservative. We're fit, we're strong, we're ready, and we're committed. And I'm really excited for what that will mean for our performance tomorrow.
John? Tajon, John Strong with Fox Sports. Jesse described it as the March of this Canada team. How would you describe, in your time, the overall process of getting Canada to the point you are right now? And do you feel like this group is ready in the span of 8 days, potentially, to really make a historic leap forward?
Yeah, definitely. I think, going back to my first cap, it was against Aruba in a World Cup qualifier. So to see the progress throughout the years, obviously Jesse took over and to even see a bigger improvement, we're on the right step forward. And like I said, it's always an honor to put on the jersey. And I think we can do something special this tournament. And it all starts, tomorrow in this knockout game. It's do or die. And we're all looking forward to it.
Take a few questions virtually. We'll start with Neil Davidson. Neil, go ahead. Neil, second chance. Okay, we'll move on to Ben Steiner.
Is this the old mute button?
I think you can hear me, but question for Jesse. Dane Sinclair gets named to the MLS All-Star game. The confidence that you've had in him this tournament, I know Max played the last game, but going in, it seems like he's been your number one.
Yeah, Dane is going to start tomorrow. He has been, I think, outstanding in the tournament and clearly in training also very, very strong. That being said, I want to also say this has never been an easy decision, and our belief in Max is at the highest level as well, and he's trained really well and been really sharp. I think Dane has done enough to earn this opportunity, and I think in this knockout stage, we're trying to put what we think is the team that is most prepared and most ready for what these matches will be, and for right now, for me, that's Dane.
Two more. Neil, you should be unmuted now.
Thanks, John. This is for Jesse. It's Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press.
Hey, Neil.
Hello there. Jesse, how would you rate the physicality of Guatemala compared to El Salvador?
Good question. I think, El Salvador also rotated a little bit against us. Guatemala, I think we're going to see their absolute best team. I think they've got some speed and creativity up front and some strong defensive players on the back line. Obviously, they're missing their goalkeeper, and a couple other players are questionable for what this match will be. I think they're athletic, maybe a little bit more athletic than El Salvador, but I think more disciplined. I don't think we're going to see such a wild performance as what El Salvador delivered. But at the same time, I think it will be very spirited, and they will try to set the tone early that it's not going to be an easy day for us. And we can't be naive. We have to understand what the standard of the game will be like, physicality in duels, in foot races. We have to be up for the challenge, but also maintain our discipline and concentration for exactly what we want the game to be. So again, we're excited for the match. We're expecting a very difficult match. We're expecting a spirited team and a motivated team, and we're going to be ready to be at our best.
We'll finish with John Molinaro.
Thanks, John. Hey, Jesse. John Molinaro from Sportsnet. Nico only had one start in the handful of caps they had prior to this tournament. But you've started him all 3 games, and I believe he's played all but 20 minutes. What is it about his game that you trusted him so much to give him such a responsibility at this tournament? And how has he risen to the challenge, do you think?
Well, I've heard along the way sometimes that national team managers say that you can't develop players, right? And I totally disagree with that. I think anytime you're a coach, that this is your job, is to try to maximize potential at all moments that you're together. there's been a few guys that I've talked about that maybe I haven't always handled perfectly because we have such competition in our squad that it's not always easy to give players the minutes that I would like to give them and the minutes they deserve. We could certainly talk about Promise David and Daniel Jebison that way. But for the fall and in the spring, it was a little bit, that was the case with Nico. And if I watch Nico play week in and week out, I see how good he is. I see how important he has been to split. I see how strong he is and how intelligent he is that he can play any position. I thought he played his first match in the middle of the midfield for the Canadian national team last match, and he was almost flawless in his performance. So he's, for a young player, he's incredibly intelligent and savvy, and he has a really good combination of combativeness with footballing intelligence, and it's something that you can use at any position anywhere on the pitch. But I really like him. I obviously like him when he plays right back, but I think his true best position is middle of the midfield, and I think he showed that last game.
We thank Jesse Marsch and Tajon Buchanan for their time. Reminder that you can find the complete press conference.
Gol de Guate.